When we talk about Maldives and other island states, we have been calling ourselves small island states. But we have come to realize, and the international community has to come to realize, that we are no more small island states, we are large ocean states. That gives us additional responsibility to look after our territorial waters. Large expanses of water, very porous borders, which makes easy target for drug traffickers, money launderers, mercenaries, pirates, you name it. Non-state actors find small island states or the large ocean states their easiest target, and that is why cooperation within the region is so important.
This is StratNews Global. I'm Amitabh, Revi. Very privileged to have again as our guest today the Minister of Foreign Affairs from Maldives, Abdulla Shahid. Mr. Shahid, welcome again. I know your trips to India are very short and very hectic, but thank you for finding some time for us.
Thank you very much. Always good to meet you.
Just going into your meetings with the External Affairs Minister, 9 fresh MOUs have been signed. And when you look at them, they are all high-impact projects that impact people on the ground, whether it's school or health facilities or I think a volleyball court as well. Just looking at President Solih since the election and India's help in terms of economics, financial aid, currency swaps, whether it's loans, grants, and then you coming out of the pandemic, tourism is rebounding. How much of a help, Mr. Shahid, do you think India's overall economic package, which I believe is in the range of $2.7 billion, $3 billion, been for the Maldivian economy?
It's always good to be here in Delhi and meeting EM yesterday. We were both able to sit down and undertake a comprehensive review of the developmental projects that has been going on in the last 4 years. I'm very pleased to say that the Indian assistance in taking the Maldives into a new era of development, starting from mega projects such as the Greater Malay connectivity to Hanimadu Airport, to the upgrading of the airport in Addu Atoll, to the 34 islands. Water and sanitation projects are ongoing, to paving roads and reclamation projects. They are proceeding well. At the same time, India has also focused on assisting communities. The 9 MOUs that were signed yesterday and another set of MOUs, 10 MOUs signed during State Minister Muralidharan's visit to the Maldives recently, and ongoing projects collectively are reaching down to the average person, and that is why it's called high impact community projects. So the range of cooperation between the Maldives and India in the last 4 years have been phenomenal. The way in which we have been able to come out of COVID-19 pandemic has been, when you look at it now, the role India has played in assisting us has also been great. Again, we can start from the beginning of the pandemic. India assisted us with the evacuation of the students from Wuhan, brought them here in Delhi. They were here for the period of over a period of time, and then they was returned to Maldives. When borders were closed, India assisted us making sure that essential supplies and essential medicine were delivered to the Maldives. We were recipient of grant assistance during that very tough period of time. And vaccines came. We were able to begin vaccination within 48 hours of from vaccine delivery was started here in India. And one of the most important thing that assisted us in bringing back our economy around was the bubble travel arrangement which was offered by India to us, reviving the tourism. I think there was a point in time the newspapers here reported that there were more Bollywood stars in Maldives than in the Bollywood. But that gave the high profile of Maldivian tourism returning to a degree of normalcy. And we are very happy that today we have not only surpassed pre-COVID numbers, the numbers are very, very promising.
You talk about promising and the large projects you mentioned. One of them is the Greater Malay connectivity. How is that doing, Minister? And is there any time frame that we are looking at in terms of its completion?
Well, due to unforeseen circumstances, I understand the project is behind schedule. EM and I discussed about how we can fast track the delays and overcome them. The Greater Malay Connectivity Project is the largest infrastructure project that has been undertaken in the Maldives, and it will stand as a great testament to this outstanding relationship between our two countries.
One of the other big prongs, Mr. Shahid, again, between India and Maldives is defense, security. I think a fast patrol vessel was transferred recently as well. Again, wanted to ask you about the timeline and how is the Coast Guard harbour jetty, that project doing in terms of, again, when can we expect it to be functional?
When we talk about Maldives and other island states, we have been calling ourselves small island states. But we have come to realize, and the international community has to come to realize, that we are no more small island states, we are large ocean states. That gives us additional responsibility to look after our territorial waters. Large expanses of water, very porous borders, which makes easy target for drug traffickers, money launderers, mercenaries, pirates, you name it. Non-state actors find small island states or the large ocean states their easiest target. And that is why cooperation within the region is so important. That is why we are a committed member of the Colombo Security Conclave. We are encouraged by the increasing interest of additional members, additional states of the Indian Ocean in this. So the cooperation between Maldives and India in maritime security and in security in general has contributed immensely to make the importance of international cooperation in the field of security in bringing it to the attention of the international community.
Again, the project I'm talking about would make the Maldives Coast Guard and your security forces self-reliant. I think that's the objective.
Of course, the whole idea of increasing the capacity of Maldives Coast Guard and the military is to build infrastructure, and that will assist us in combating any threats that may come around. But at any point in time, it would be a fallacy to think that in this day and age, individual countries by themselves alone would be able to counter some of the threats. And that is why international cooperation is so important.
So do we have a time frame for this jetty and harbour and the
Well, all these projects are on track.
They're on track. Again, very interesting speech you gave at Sapru House, Minister. The 3 Ps that you mentioned and how Maldives again is shouldn't be just looked at as a small island developing country. Uh, in that context, when you're talking about principled stands, pragmatism, and then prioritizing those three P's that you're talking about, there are many players in the Indian Ocean region. India is, it's India first for the Maldives, but China is a player. The US, you have, I think, a defense framework agreement with them in 2020. How does the Maldives, using those three Ps, do you feel you need to balance this big power rivalry or competition that is happening?
Well, for the states, the island states in the Indian Ocean, we shouldn't be asked to balance anything because this is an ocean where we belong. Whoever comes in should respect us. Whoever comes in should have the stability, prosperity, and security of the Indian Ocean foremost. Because for us, as I said in my lecture yesterday, for us, we can't leave this ocean. We are part of the ocean. And we have in the past seen colonial powers come. They rule the region for centuries. And when it is time for them to leave, they can leave. They have left, leaving us behind. Because we are the Indian Ocean islands. And that is why it is so important for the Indian Ocean islands to come together and have this common goal, common aspiration of peace, prosperity, and security and stability foremost.
This coming together again, I think the Seychelles President Ram Lakawan made a visit to the Maldives as well. Both the Maldives and India have deep cooperation with the Seychelles, and you're talking about the Indian Ocean countries, the island countries. How does, say, a Seychelles, Mauritius, Seychelles, Maldives bilateral relationship dovetail into what you were talking about a little while earlier, the Colombo security enclave?
Well, Seychelles and Maldives has outstanding relationship. And as a matter of fact, the current vice president of Seychelles is of Maldivian origin. We are honored. We share so many similarities. The president's visit was in the aftermath of President Solih's visit to Seychelles pre-COVID. We were able to identify many areas of cooperation, benefiting from exchange of experience and also giving each other the confidence. As I said yesterday, that small does not mean that you can't do it. And together we have been able to prove it many, many times.
Again, on maritime affairs, Minister, in terms of the ITLOS verdict that was given and delimitation, maritime delimitation, some criticism you've been facing, as in the government has been facing, for the stand you took back home.
Well, it's a stand that the Constitution and the international agreements that we are party to has taken. It is not a stand taken by the government per se. It's a stand taken by the country because of the fact that we are party to the law of the sea, and because of our commitment to an internationally rules-based system. We have to honor these commitments that we have given when we become party to these conventions and treaties. We have delimited our boundary with India and Sri Lanka way back in the 70s. In the south, it has been left open, and as member states who are party to the Law of the Sea Convention, ITLOS was the natural tribunal to rule on it, and the ITLOS has given us more area than Mauritius, which means that from our point of view, we have a clear boundary between Mauritius and us now.
That's the maritime delimitation issue, but the government did change its stand vis-a-vis Chagos and the ownership of Chagos. Why did that happen?
Well, it was again not for us to decide who owns Chagos. The International Court of Justice gave an advisory opinion to the United Nations General Assembly when it sought an advisory opinion that the process of decolonization by the British, the United Kingdom, has not been completed, and therefore the sovereignty of Chagos was with Mauritius. Maldives has never, in any point in time, declared any sovereign interest over Chagos. Therefore, successive governments since independence and pre-independence, we have never claimed this. Therefore, when the United Nations General Assembly adopted a resolution on the issue, and when ITLOS said that based on the ICJ advisory opinion and the United Nations General Assembly resolution, Mauritius has the right to bring the issue of delimitation of the boundary to ITLOS. We have to accept it. The main point is that today, this day and age, we live in an internationally rules-based society. We have to respect international law. If we do not respect international law, then countries will go to war. And as a peace-loving country and a country which highly respects its international commitments, the government of Maldives is fully committed to the rulings of the tribunal.
So it was an internal decision, no pressure from outside? Or
nothing whatsoever. Nothing whatsoever. There was nothing the government, whichever government is in place, could do as long as we are party to these international conventions. And we became a member of the international community. As I said yesterday again, the first decision of the newly independent government was to join the United Nations, become part of the international system.
Talking about governments, I mean, you're already into the throes of election mode. India's getting there soon for next year. There are lots of developments, and of course, lots of things that can happen or not happen. The cases in court against former President Yamin Nasheed has broken away. The Democrats have been set up. It seems like the MDP has split. How confident are you and President Solih of a second term under these circumstances?
Well, we are very confident of President Solih's second term. The people of Maldives can clearly see the amount of work that has been done for the people. Look at the infrastructure development or the contribution to human resource development and many other forms of uplifting the people, uplifting the economy. When people go to the ballot box, they always see and ask themselves, what has this government done for us? And given the fact that we have spent almost 2.5 years in lockdown of the world in COVID, the current government has increased the living standards and made life better for the people in many ways. From time immemorial, most of these islands, they did not have fresh water or sewerage. And we are talking about 2023, a country with close to 12,000 GDP per capita. And this is gross negligence on the part of previous governments. So when people get these basic facilities, they can value the contribution that President Solih has made. So I'm very confident.
Have you seen around the world that if opposition unites, and here we're seeing former Presidents Nasheed and Yamin talking, or their parties talking, we don't know what will happen out of that. If there is a united opposition or a coalition against that, you still don't think that would hurt your chances?
Well, the leaders can join and discuss, but at the grassroots level, people can see the substantial contribution of President Solih in making their lives better.
Mr. Shahid, again, absolutely appreciate your time that you've given us. I know you're extremely busy. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure is always ours.
Thank you.
And to our viewers, do give us a feedback on this interview and any other suggestions you have. You can log on to our social media sites for the latest, including our Telegram channel, for when we put up articles on our website, or interviews like this with Maldivian Foreign Minister Shahid on our YouTube channel. This is StratNews Global. I'm Amitabh Revi.